Most people misunderstand Marilyn Monroe. They think that she was born feminine, naturally confident, naturally seductive, naturally comfortable being seen. That is false. That is not the truth. It's so far away from the truth. Marilyn Monroe was not a natural feminine icon. She was a woman who trained herself into embodiment because her original identity could not survive visibility. Her femininity was learned, practiced, constructed, regulated, and that is exactly why her presence was so powerful. Hi love, I'm Christina. I help women stop living in survival mode and come back home to themselves. Before Marilyn, there was Norma Jeane. Norma Jeane grew up with instability, with abandonment, foster homes, and emotional neglect. She learned early how unsafe it was to be unprotected. She was anxious, she was eager to please, afraid of being discarded. There was nothing glamorous about her nervous system. This matters because femininity does not come from comfort. It comes from learning safety. Marilyn did not act sexy. She rebuilt herself from the inside out. When she entered serious acting training, especially her work with Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio, she became obsessed with presence. Not performance, presence. She studied breath, stillness, timing, emotional containment, pauses, eye contact. She trained herself to stay in her body while being watched and be okay with it. Now, this is femininity. Femininity is not softness. It is regulation under attention. Most people focus on how Marilyn looked, and they definitely miss how she moved. She deliberately slowed her walk. She softened her shoulders and unclenched her jaw. Her lips were parted most of the time, and she allowed her hips to move naturally by relaxing tension, not by exaggerating motions like they do in some shows now. She lowered her vocal pitch through breath, not through force, not through acting and faking. That was not seduction, that was embodiment training. She changed her pace before she changed her look. Now that is the first lesson. Femininity shows up in pace, not in aesthetics and pink and lace. A regulated body moves slower, speaks slower, pauses longer, does not rush to fill space. Marilyn understood silence. She learned to let others lean in, not to chase attention. She allowed attention to arrive to her. She learned how to receive. This is where Own Your Visibility begins. Visibility becomes magnetic when you stop rushing to be seen. Marilyn's voice work was not about sounding sweet and soft. It was about containment. She softened her tone. She slowed her speech. She uses pauses intentionally if you listen to her. Her silence created gravity. She understood that presence holds attention better than effort do. Then there is the part most people get wrong. Marilyn Monroe was not fake, but Marilyn Monroe was constructed. Norma Jeane did not feel safe being visible, so Marilyn, her alter ego, became the container she could inhabit publicly. This was identity work. She built an identity that could tolerate attention and desire and projection. That is not deception. This is capacity building. Inside Own Your Femininity, this matters. Identity work is not pretending. It is building a self that can hold what you want without collapsing. Marilyn's femininity was not sexual availability. It was containment again. She was not loud. She was not aggressive, not chasing, not overexposing. She was calm, present, emotionally restrained, grounded. That is why people felt safe around her. And safety is attractive. Femininity is not offering yourself, It is allowing yourself to be received. Now look at the modern women. They live inside hustle culture, urgency, performance, productivity, constant output. Their bodies are braced and their nervous systems are overstimulated. Then they're told to be more feminine, be more feminine. So they try to act soft, but their bodies are not safe. This is why it feels fake. This is why it feels exhausting. You cannot embody Marilyn level femininity in a body that's constantly in survival mode. If Marilyn was training today, she would not focus on clothes or flirting or how to text or sext or like those stupid stuff. She would train nervous system regulation, stillness under attention, breath and pacing, presence before output, identity, capacity for visibility. That is exactly what Own Your Femininity teaches. We do not teach women to be softer. We teach them to become safe enough to soften naturally. And Own Your Visibility teaches what Marilyn mastered: how to be seen without performing, how to hold attention without chasing, how to stay present while being watched. Marilyn did not become feminine by trying harder. She became feminine by learning how to stay. She stayed in her body. She stayed in the moment. She stayed in the look. She stayed with the attention. That is the work. Marilyn Monroe is not a style icon. She's a case study in embodiment, feminine embodiment. Her femininity was trained, her presence was practiced, and her visibility was contained, which means it's learnable. It's not genetic, because Norma Jeane is not Marilyn Monroe. It's not genetic, it's not aesthetic, it's not reserved for a certain kind of woman. If this landed, it is because you already feel it. And when you are ready to stop performing femininity and start inhabiting it, I will meet you inside.